So again, welcome everybody to Overall's webinar, The Secret Recipes from KFC and F45, Fueling Their Location Marketing Growth. Again, we have tons of stuff to talk about. I think it's going to be a great webinar. Hopefully you find a lot of value and this is going to help you with your local strategy. But first, who we are, right? My name is Christian Arreola. I am Product Enablement Manager over at Overall. I've been in local SEO for probably 12, 13 years now, and really specializing in trying to figure out how do we drive that click into an offline conversion, into foot traffic, into stores, working with a lot of franchises, which is what brings us today, right? So what are we talking about today? One, is location-driven growth still relevant? Because I think we need to set the stage and really understand what's going on in the market, what's going on in the industry across the board. What's happening with location marketing nowadays. I also want to share with you the 5 truths of location-driven growth, because I think these are going to be crucial. And these are some of the things that we see from all the brands that we work with, across the globe. And these are some of the learnings that we continue to see that now becoming our playbook, right? Like following this playbook can get you that success or can get you to those goals that you're trying to achieve. And then number 3, probably my favorite, how KFC and F45 supercharge your franchise growth. These 2 brands have tremendous analytics, tremendous success with the platform, and we just want to share that with you. So before we jump into our content, I'm going to start a poll here, and I want to ask you guys, how would you rate your current franchise's online to offline consumer journey? Because this is a very interesting one, right? Like I want to hear what's your thoughts. Like, how do you evaluate? And okay, I see some answers already coming in. Excellent, good, average. I mean, everybody's at a different spot, right? Like we see those big franchises out there that are all about like tremendous investment into app and text and park, and like everything is automated, versus other companies that are trying to evolve, right? They're trying to bring that conversion from online to offline. Cool. Okay. Give a few more seconds. So if you want to just take the poll, respond here. I would be very curious. Again, this is just for our knowledge, because we're very curious to know, how do you feel about it, right? How do you feel about this online to offline consumer journey that honestly keeps evolving very drastically year after year? It's been evolving, and it probably will continue to evolve. As you'll see in this webinar, we're going to talk about some of those things that we're already seeing changing, and it's probably just going to continue being so. All right, so we're going to close it up. And thank you so much for everybody that participated. With that, let's jump into the impact of location-driven growth on your brand. Because honestly, like I said, this is a very foundational information that it's important to understand, right? It's important to know if it's even relevant, if it's even something that we should be looking at as a brand, as an organization. And just from our perspective, just from the industry alone, we've seen 400% year-over-year increases in searches such as "Open Now Near Me," according to Google. Now, this has already evolved, because back in the day, we saw this similar growth for "near me" keywords. And now we're seeing that more specialized "Open Now Near Me." And again, this changed very rapidly within a few years. We saw the trend coming, we saw the trend, and now jumping in and helping brands tackle it, right? Like monetize these type of trends. But again, it's going to continue to evolve, right? So we got to be ahead of the curve. We've got to make sure that all our customers are always up to date and that they're really taking care of monetizing of these trends. Now, this is also especially thanks to smartphones, right? Like social media and the multi-channel search that we're going to cover a little bit ahead. But it's just the fact that we have so many different platforms now in our mobile device that it just, the customer journey gets a little bit more complex, right? Depending on your industry and your vertical, there might be a few clicks, or there might be hours of research before a click converts into a conversion. So honestly, it just depends on the industry, but across the board, we are seeing that the 88% of people who search locally buy from a store within a week. So there is a very heavy emphasis right there, where it's like people are searching locally, they are clicking, they are seeing and researching about you, and then they're becoming a store purchase within a week. Now, the brand's interactions are probably going to be extremely important at the local level, because let's start with the fact that e-commerce is now 16% of retail, which is stunning, right? Like, it's back in the day. I mean, even when I started working in SEO many years ago, e-commerce was still a little bit new. People were afraid, and now just fast forward, not too long ago, now being 16% of retail is mind-blowing, and is probably going to continue growing and evolving as you see those big retailers out there now becoming an eco platform, right? Or an e-commerce master online, but they trying to drive also offline, and it's just becoming this monstrous retail experiment, as I would call it, right? But it's just going to continue growing. And as a consumer, I am very excited, because I think that we get all the convenience, right? Like, I'm located in the US, and we get all the convenience of ordering and getting it at home in an hour, or I can go pick it up at the store in 30 minutes. Like, it's just very convenient. And that brings me to point number 2. 90% or more of people are looking online before visiting a physical store, because one, they may be checking out inventory, or they just want to make sure they don't make the trip for no reason. So, business hours come in play. They want to see what the atmosphere is about, what kind of reviews and reputations you have. I mean, a lot of things come to mind, but they, at the end of the day, they want to visit that physical store, because for whatever reason, like, there's things that you want to try on, there's things that you just want to experience in person, right? For whatever the reason, they just want those physical stores. They want to visit. And Gen Z prefers shopping in stores versus buying online. Again, goes back to the whole, there's this experience behind physical stores that you cannot get the same from e-commerce. Now, the brand interaction at a local level is also perception of brand nationality. So again, this is why it's so important, right? Because it's important how you bridge that online versus offline, what the customer journey is on both, and how does that connect? What does this all mean, right? It just means that at the end of the day, customer experience matters. That consistency between online and offline is really a very important dimension, and probably going to continue growing because of all the things that are going in the marketplace, how things are evolving so fast. This is just going to continue being more important as we go along. Now, it's, again, like I said earlier, right? Like, we have this blueprint, the 5 truths powering location-driven growth. And we want to share this with you, right? Because I think that you're going to find a lot of really cool information that we've learned through the years, that we continue to learn. Like, this playbook continues to evolve. But these are the same that we work with, that we get from our customers, right? Like, obviously, across different verticals, across industries, across different countries. But we're talking about location anchoring, local first algorithms. We're talking about in-person authenticity, digital nomadism, and brand solidity. So these are the things that we're going to really tackle in order to connect that online versus offline journey, and really make it very comprehensive for that customer experience. So truth number 1 about location anchoring. I mean, we are in a shifting search landscape. So location data is going to be your source of truth. But when it gets very interesting is nowadays 40% of Generation Z search for information from their peers on social media, on social platforms. So that means this 40% is not necessarily going to our traditional search engines. And this percentage continues to evolve as well as Generation Z, times goes by, they get a little bit older. But we are seeing that tendency that they are using a lot more platforms for research, social, you name it, right? And here, this is where it gets tricky. Now that you have to manage, 20, 30, or 40 profiles for the web, on the web per location, it gets time consuming, right? And the consistency of your data across all these platforms is going to be key for your success online. So it just gets very complicated very fast, but it doesn't have to be, right? And that's what I'm talking about here, is just having that location data as a source of truth in a single platform is going to make your life so much better, more efficient, which also brings me to truth number 2, right? The local first algorithms. This is another thing, me on the local SEO side, especially seeing it heavily in the last 24 months, Google really optimizing for local, for AI. I mean, a lot of things happening, and Google's really asking not just SEOs, but brands such as you guys, to really bring on the optimization to business profiles, because this data is feeding their platforms, their knowledge base, and at the end of the day is improving customer experience. So what can you do when it comes to local first algorithms? Let's start with Google Business Profile optimization. I mean, there's going to be everything in Google Business Profile is important, right? I would say, yeah, take care of it, do as much as you can. But there are some key components that I wouldn't want you to miss. And this is for across the board, all your locations you should be taking care of. Verify and have a complete profile, accurate business category and secondary categories. I mean, we could have a webinar just on these categories because they are a ranking factor. They have tremendous impact, and there's some tactics there that you can be swapping. And when I say tactics, I'm not saying trying to hack our way up, but doing it in a within guidelines way, best practices kind of thing. Accurate hours. I mean, there's been a lot of changes in rankings in accurate hour and in having accurate hours and the impact of search on that. Then you have your reputation and reviews. Really adding images and video make a big difference because people are able to see your location before they even visit. So think about that next time you upload or you miss the uploading a picture or a video of your products or your stores. Local links and mentions. I mean, these are a great way to build reputation, to build trust as well. And really just trying to remind you that regardless of all the updates that Google's going through, at the end of the day, they continue to see relevance, proximity, and prominence. This means that the more information they know about you, the better judgment they can make on where you deserve to rank. Truth number 3, in-person authenticity. I think this really plays a big role nowadays when it comes to online to offline customer journey, because it's surprising that there's not a lot of attention to this, but this is where the magic happens. Because if people just wanted the product, they could go e-commerce and take care of that. But they want that experience. They want to come to your store for authenticity. They want, whatever their reason may be. This is your opportunity to excel. This is your opportunity to make a big difference that, hey, you couldn't get this experience online. You could get the product but not the experience, or in a restaurant obviously you cannot, right? Or there's just so many caveats there. But I think that just being local branded stores as providers of community experience is a big deal. I think if you build connections with local communities by building personalized experiences, you're going to make a big impact for that customer journey. Now, participating in local events to build brand awareness is also a big one. And this is, been going on for a long time, of course, but it doesn't change. Like, it's still very successful. It's still a great way to build in-person authenticity nowadays, especially with all the digital things going on. Truth number 4, and I'm probably guilty of this one, to be honest, digital nomadism. Today, the office can be anywhere, right? We can work from home. We can build a studio at home, or you can go work at a coffee shop. And nowadays, it's just most people have that choice. A lot of people have that choice. And this is really nurturing a generation of digital nomads. So the use of smartphones, search, and social media to seek out familiar brands, products, and services wherever they go, wherever they are, because there's some travel involved, right? Because you can work from anywhere. You can fly at night, and in the morning you're working for the whole different city or state, and they're going to seek for those brands. Now, digital nomads really value rich local information that helps them to orientate themselves and feel at home. I mean, think about this digital nomad maybe searching for a hotel. And first, nowadays, like, this has changed in my personal life. Now I look to see if reviews mention high-speed internet, because I'm just curious, can I host a webinar when I'm searching for a new hotel that I'm going to be in a different city of? And I just did this a couple of times in the last 4 weeks. And so this is something that you got to think about, right? I think about this digital nomadism that is going on as well. And truth number 5, brand solidity. So really, consumers' trust depends on physical visibility. Like, they just want to see that. And this is where it all brings back together to the things that we've been talking about. But brands that operate real brick and mortar stores send an important signal of quality and commitment, which translates into measurable brand and bottom line benefits, which is what we care about, right? We want those conversions. We want that revenue to go up. And this is where it got very interesting, because a 2021 report from McKinsey found that brick and mortar retailers generated twice as much organic traffic as purely online retailers do. Now, this obviously there has to be a strategy behind it, right? There has to be a high level SEO presence and a local SEO strategy to achieve this. But it was shocking, because this is true, right? Like, you can see that as people are really researching those locations and they want to find out more about each specific location, they will go to your website to try to find it, or they will go to Google Business Profile, where you're going to find some basic info, but then from there go to your website. So this is all about solidifying your brand across platforms, across everywhere where people may be searching for, because the customer journey continues to evolve. It will probably continue to do so as well as time goes by. Now, let's talk about data, because this is where, I mean, again, we can do another webinar just on this slide, but I really want to emphasize the need to employ analytics in your strategy. It is important to track key important metrics, key performance metrics across all your locations. Now, it is one thing to really monitor for all across the board, maybe look at averages for all your locations, anywhere where they are. But it's also going to be important to look at them at an individual level to really understand what's going on, right? So the few things that I would highly recommend you check out and you really keep an eye on is customer reviews, because they really provide a wealth of information about the customer experience, what they think about your brand, all about your reputation for those individual locations. Two would be revenue-based KPIs, or an ultimate impact on bottom line as well. So things like click-through rate, click-to-call rate, or percentage of increases in transaction and revenue by location. These are all going to be connected to, it's a chain, right? Like, it's all going to be connected to your visibility, to how well you're optimized, how many clicks are coming through, and then let the whole funnel work this way. Now, the other thing that I would say, additional quick wins KPIs that I would focus on is map pack inclusions, because these are going to be really featured by Google on local searches, and SERP ranking position. So this is going to be the organic side of search result. And really, magic happens where you are in the map pack and you're also ranking on the local organic search side of things, because now people have options, right? They're able to see the full snippet of your Google profile, but then also go to your location page or X page that you were ranking on the organic side. And this is where the whole customer journey just really comes together. I think it really makes a big difference to try to guide that person from online to offline purchase, and across the industries. I think it works across the industries, and this is where I'm able to give you a couple of examples, right? Talk about some successful franchise stories in two very completely different industries. One is KFC, right? KFC has been one of our customers for some time, and they've done a phenomenal job with the platform, and really bringing their local SEO strategy and their local marketing strategy to have very high standards. And love to say that they serve a delectable customer experience to hungry customers, because they are managing 55 platforms and directories for each of their locations through all one integrated platform. And this really made it very, very successful for them, because it really helped their process to be very efficient. Managing and updating information is extremely efficient for them, which really contributed to an impressive 93% completeness of their Google Business Profile. Now, completeness is a big thing, because, like I said earlier, Google really wants to know data on each location. So achieving 93% across hundreds or thousands of locations is a big deal. Now, by using Overall, KFC was able to suppress 2,400 inaccurate duplicate listings. They also mitigated the potential customer confusion and safeguarded against negative customer experiences. Because honestly, like, how many times has it happened to you as a consumer, or maybe you heard it from a customer, where you make the drive 10, 20, 30-minute drive to show up to a place that was closed because the hours were not up to date? Now, this is honestly, the few times that has happened to me, I go online and I look at reviews, and there's at least multiple complaining about the hours. So don't let that happen to you, right? in KFC example, they saw 132% Google Maps impression growth, 60% added revenue, which is insane, and 30-1 return on investment. I mean, that is just a phenomenal case study. The KFC team is really knocking it out of the park, leveraging a partner like Overall and really doing all the optimizations and following all the best practices that we can get, that their team brings to the table, and really just, creating case studies like this. Let's switch over to a different industry. Let's go to the fitness side of things. And this is how F45 training pumped up its search impressions by 148% year over year. So F45, it's over 2,000 franchise locations, and they plan to continue growing for another 1,500 new locations in the next 2 years. So this is a very fast-growing company. And with Overall, the team is successfully managing all its studio listings, cleaning up its online presence, supercharging its local marketing strategy, and welcoming more customers into the gym. What happened with F45? They saw 148% year over year in search impressions, which is, triple-digit growth is always amazing. And then you have 72% year over year increase in map impressions. That's also what we want, because we want to drive the online visibility into a store, in this case, into a studio. And they also drove 144% increase in Facebook clicks. So it's also, super, super fascinating that they're able to really leverage the Overall platform and see this kind of performance. I mean, triple digit performance and visibility and impressions in maps. It's just going to be it's probably going to be a very impactful success story for the bottom line. So with that, before we wrap up, I do want to show and mention an offer that we have for you as the Overall team. And that offer is a free comprehensive online presence audit, because it's really going to matter, right? Like, to understand, where are you today? How can you improve if you don't really have that benchmark? So, like any other SEO audit or visibility audit, you really need to know where you are and find those opportunities, right? So that is just exclusive offer on this webinar. So you can just click the link on your screen, sign up for that, and hopefully don't miss the opportunity to find those opportunities to optimize and really tackle this online to offline journey. But with that, thank you so much for tuning in today. Hopefully you found this very valuable and you found a lot of value, and you can go out there and now start creating a plan, right? Create a local strategy, a local marketing strategy, knowing the truth that we talked about, knowing how important the online to offline customer journey has become, how much has changed through the years, and be ready for what's coming, right? Because it will continue to change. There's a lot of things in the industry, such as AI and all these search engines are changing very rapidly. And honestly, as marketers, we have to adapt quickly. We have to be in the know. We have to always be ready for changes. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Love to chat with you today, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.